guys, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're all doing really well. So as part of my Lyme series, I wanted to talk a bit about Lyme diagnosis and especially about how I actually got my Lyme diagnosis. So if you want to hear more about my story, then keep on watching this video and don't forget to subscribe to my channel by hitting the red button down below to keep up to date with all of my videos. So my Lyme story, just like many other people's Lyme stories, was quite complicated, and before I actually got my diagnosis, it took a long time. For 9 years, 8.5 years, 9 years, I went undiagnosed, and I was actually misdiagnosed with a different illness, and it got to the point that I was really so sick that I couldn't take care of myself anymore, and I honestly couldn't cut my own food. I couldn't put a toothpaste on my toothbrush. I was completely debilitated by the disease. So we made the decision to do pretty much any test under the sun that we could think of, and I was hospitalized here in Spain. And yeah, we just literally started doing all kinds of tests and scans, MRIs of the head and neck, spine, all kinds of things, and I actually had a German neurologist do all kinds of checkups on me as well. And eventually she said to me, "Did you ever test for Lyme disease?" And I was like, no. At that point I knew what Lyme disease was, because it might sound funny, but it's the way I know it and I'm not ashamed of it. But I was watching with my mom and my sister The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and you know, watching Yolanda Hadid be that sick, and you know, watching her progress through the whole disease and everything. That's how I knew about Lyme disease. So when she said initially, you know, "Have you ever tested for Lyme disease?" I said, "No, I haven't." So she told me to go do blood tests for that, and I also did a spinal tap, which was incredibly painful. But yeah, did the blood test and it lit up like a Christmas tree. So yeah, it was incredibly positive for Borrelia. And at that point she said, "I don't really know how to treat you because this is not my area of expertise. I know about Lyme, but I don't know what the treatment would be, especially because it's at such a chronic stage." So she said, "You know, you really have to go find somebody that's specialized in this." So luckily, through a family friend and now colleague of mine, Dr. Lubeck, he put us in touch with Dr. Kingma in Holland, and I went to go see him in December of, was it 2015, and I had my consultation with him, and it was really nice. He was so incredibly kind and patient, and would listen. He was the first doctor that would listen to my story and didn't make me feel like I was absolutely crazy, because I'd seen other doctors in London and you know, in Spain, and everybody was telling me that it was in my head, I was going absolutely nuts, and I was making up all of my symptoms. So this was really the first doctor to say, "You're not crazy, I understand, just tell me your story and we'll take it from there." So looking at all of the symptoms, you know, he drew up a list of tests that he recommended I do, and it was the Borrelia and a couple of co-infections as well, because I hadn't been tested for co-infections. So sent off all the blood work. A couple of weeks later I got all the results back, and indeed as well it was positive for Borrelia. Luckily all of my co-infections were negative, so I was negative for Bartonella and Babesia and the whole other list. So it was quite unusual that I was negative, but yeah, it was frustrating to hear that it was Lyme disease, and I'd been doing at this point more research about the disease and hearing stories. But on the other hand, I was like, okay, finally, after, you know, at this point 9 years, I knew what the disease was, and I knew what this diagnosis was, and we could take it from there and look for treatment. And yeah, within a couple of days he called me back and gave me a recommended treatment protocol, and less than a month later I was in treatment, and that is pretty much how it went from there. But you know, I think for so many people, we all go and see different doctors, and a lot of people don't take you seriously, and it's incredibly frustrating. So try and find a doctor that will really listen to your story and takes you seriously. And fortunately I found somebody like that, and somebody I really trust, and because you're literally putting your life in their hands. So I am really grateful for this German neurologist for initially saying that, you know, maybe it's Lyme disease, and it was great that she had this knowledge about the disease even though she couldn't treat it. But then to refer me on to somebody that eventually that does know a lot about the disease and does know how to treat it, you know, changed my life in the end. So in my further videos I will keep talking about my treatment, talking about the progress of the disease, my symptoms and different things. So yeah, if you can relate to this story and you have, you know, something similar to this, then please let me know, share it with me. I'd love to, you know, hear all the stories of everybody and how they were diagnosed initially. And if you have any questions about what sort of tests I did, then just send me a message, and yeah, hope to see you all in my next video. Take care. Bye.